I'm joined now by the Executive Director, Foundation for Defence of Democracies, Jonathan Schanzer. Jonathan, thank you very, very much. So Hamas are happy, aren't they?
Oh, they're quite happy. I think within a day or so of the announcement, they came out and thanked the UK government. That, as you noted, should not be a good sign. But I think we need to understand the broader situation here, which is that the Palestinian Authority, the what would be the government recognized by the UK, is beyond corrupt. I mean, they have just wasted hundreds of millions of dollars in international aid. They continue to pay the salaries of terrorists that are languishing in Israeli jails. They're paying the families as a perk for those people that have carried out murders. They don't control their own territory. So what the UK government right now is doing is that it's proposing the recognition of a failed state in the Middle East. And if you ask me, I think there are enough failed states in the Middle East to last us for a lifetime. We're watching it right now. How many more do we need?
Well, quite, yes. Turkey Starmer did not include the return of the hostages in his video message to the nation yesterday. He then tried to backtrack a little bit on that and say that in some kind of written statement he had put it in there. But what kind of message does that send, do you think?
A terrible one, and I think your prime minister should have known better that if you're going to try to pull off a stunt like this, and I do believe it's a stunt, I believe it's an attempt to placate certain segments of the British population, or maybe to appear like he's virtue signaling to the rest of the world for that matter. But you've got to be a bit more even-handed as it relates to Hamas. You've got to remember that we wouldn't be here right now had it not been for the attacks of October 7th, the hostages that were taken, the 1,200 murdered. And again, I think one other thing that the prime minister neglected to note is that, you know, this entire war that we've been watching that led us to this moment, this has been an Iran-backed endeavor. That it's the Islamic Republic of Iran, which is, of course, an enemy of Great Britain. Absolutely. They stand behind so much of this.
No, I just wanted to, just because we're playing some footage on the screen now of what we're seeing in Gaza, and a lot of people are, you know, clearly and rightly very concerned about the humanitarian situation in Gaza. However, one thing I will say is we're currently looking at a lot of Hamas fighters. And gosh, they look very well fed, don't they, those Hamas fighters? Certainly doesn't look like there's any shortage of food for Hamas. So I do find that something that maybe people could be raising a little bit more when it comes to this. But how bad is it for Sir Keir Starmer now that the Americans and the Israelis appear to think that what we're doing is both thick and dangerous?
Well, I think there was probably very little risk for the prime minister to come out and take positions that were at odds with Israel or for the United States. It's not as if things have been perfect between the Israelis and this government, or certainly the United States and this government. And so I think there is very little risk from that perspective. But I have to say that there is a broader historical lens that we need to be looking at here right now. The British government, you know, whether that was the intention or not, has done an immense amount of damage over the last century or so in the Middle East, trying to redraw maps, trying to pick favorites in the region. They're doing it again right now. And when I see your foreign minister get up at the United Nations and say that the hand of history is on your shoulder and that they're trying to do the right thing, I've got to say, boy, read a history book. That is just remarkable that there's a complete ignorance of the damage that the UK and the French and many others have done in this region. It is the intervention of foreign powers that have brought us to this moment in many ways.
Yeah. I mean, he's made a complete horlicks of it, Sir Keir Starmer, yes, again, with the hostage situation, as we've said, alienating two of our great allies in all of this, the Israelis and the Americans. My big concern here, and some people might interpret what I'm about to say as well, if this happens, then maybe the Israelis aren't really our friends, but that's not how I mean it. But the Israelis might be able to show us, actually, exactly how much we rely on them for intelligence and terrorism prevention in this country. And I worry about what alienating them might mean for us here in Britain.
Look, I would worry about that too. I don't think the Israelis are going to withhold information about imminent attacks, against the UK. I certainly don't think that they would do that. They wouldn't go out of their way to make things worse or to, allow for a mass casualty event to take place. But absolutely, the technology that Israel has developed, the intelligence sources that it has across the region, it's vital to the entire Western alliance. And I think that the UK ignores that at its peril right now. And I also think that what they're ignoring more than anything else is that the Israelis are really one of the only stable countries in the region right now, and that really the UK ought to be working with the Israelis. Yeah. Maybe the Jordanians, maybe the Greeks and the Cypriots, but how many others are left here that the UK can rely upon to be a stable force in the region?
The message here, I think, is, a lot of people have pointed this out. Sir Keir Starmer might wrap it up as a kind of, humanitarian issue, or he cares about the people of Gaza and all of that. Really, we've just got a new hard left-wing party that's emerged here that is all about Palestine. It's just a party that's designed singularly around the cause of Gaza. And he's doing this, in my view, to try to appease them. And the message that sends out, unfortunately, I think, is that we have a leader in this country who, if you invade a sovereign country who is an ally, you rape and you pillage and you do all sorts of horrific things and you take hostages and you keep enough of a fuss about it, eventually, a year or two later, we might recognise you as a state. And that is a very, very concerning position to be in. But, Jonathan, thank you very much. You take care, and I hope to chat to you again very soon. Jonathan Schanzer there is Executive Director of the Foundation for Defence of Democracies.